Hi everybody! Today on Bella Renovare, we're gonna do something simple. We're gonna take it back, do something simple. We're gonna do a black finish with some gold accents on this little dresser buffet. It's a dresser, but it's not something that you would put a ton of clothes in. So maybe, you could use it as an accent piece or a coffee bar or something like that. But anyways, we are going to keep it simple and we're gonna do black on here, and then we're gonna do gold accents. So I'm actually going to show you how I seal black furniture to get the best finish. So stay tuned. The first step to this process is removing hardware. So this is really common in Europe. I have seen it in the States. If you open a piece and you are like, what is going on here? These are just covers. You're gonna wanna get yourself a flathead screwdriver and you're gonna get a hammer and you're just gonna kind of pop it in there and pop it off. Normally, there are going to be square nuts on this hardware. I would say 9 times out of 10, there's gonna be square nuts behind that. So just take needle nose pliers. So you just take your needle nose pliers and loosen it. And you'll be able to pull it off. So what that's done is just pulled the whole piece off, and I usually just throw it back in the drawer for now until I get myself a little bowl and I put all my hardware in there while I'm cleaning. So that's how you're going to remove this hardware. So clearly this dresser has seen better days. It's not in the worst shape, but I don't know if maybe it was in direct sunlight and when the hardware was sitting here, it kind of burnt the image of the hardware into here. Doesn't matter, we're gonna fix it. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to clean this entire piece with my Dixie Belle White Lightning. I'm gonna open the drawers, I'm gonna vacuum them out, I'm gonna clean them, and then I'm actually going to put Big Mama's Butter in Orange Grove, right here, inside all the drawers. So what you do with the Big Mama's Butter is I'm gonna put it all in there and then I'm gonna wipe it back, and that way it will dry properly. But what that's gonna do is help refresh it, deodorize it, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna be pulling the drawers out, cleaning, vacuuming, all that stuff. But if you can't tell, so this is solid wood, all right? But it has a little bit of a shine to it. And so I'm not using slick stick on this. I do not use slick stick on wood. What I'm gonna do is take my Surf Prep rad pad, super fine, so a 220 grit for you guys, 320 grit, and I am just going to scuff sand. And when I say scuff sand, I mean just kind of scuffing the surface. So you see how it's white? That's it. I'm not gonna get crazy with it. I'm just gonna scuff sand to get that gloss off, to give it some bite. So first step is to clean really well. Well, first of all, okay, vacuum the drawers because there's some dust in there. Clean really well with our White Lightning. Rinse that really well with some clean water, clean rag. Let it dry. I'm gonna do Big Mama's Butter inside all of the drawers, inside the body, and then I'm actually going to do just a light scuff sand. The reason why I'm sanding after I clean is because if I sanded and then cleaned, I would be pushing all the sand particles when I'm cleaning back into these crevices, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to slightly scuff sand, and then I'm just going to take a dry, clean rag and wipe off all the excess dust, and then we'll be ready to paint. So that is my prep cleaning process for this piece.
I thought that we had something special. I thought I handled this so well. I know we had the right intentions, but some came to an end. I was looking for a remedy. Now I got a who's in front of me. I was looking for a remedy. Now I got a who's in front of me. Yeah. Push you back, hold you close, start a fight, there you go. I get unstable, I get unstable. In my bed all alone, never know when you home. I get unstable, I get unstable. Remember the first time I met you, the way that it had made me feel. But later something changed between us, and now I don't know where we meet. I was looking for a remedy. Now I got a who's in front of me. I was looking for a remedy. Now I got a who's in front of me. Yeah. Push you back, hold you close, start a fight, there you go. I get unstable, I get unstable. In my bed all alone, never know when you home. I get unstable, I get unstable. I get unstable. I get unstable. I push you back, I hold you close. Push you back, hold you close. Start a fight, there you go. I get unstable. I get unstable. In my bed all alone, never know when you home. I get unstable. I get unstable. Push you back, hold you close. Start a fight, there you go. I get unstable.
So if you've ever heard me talk, I always say that sometimes when you have a plain piece, a lot of times even the characters and the details, this is a drawer side. I'm gonna decoupage some redesign with Prima mulberry tissue paper on here. This one is called Watercolor. This one's called Watercolor Flora, okay? And I have 3 drawers, so I'm actually gonna do this on the middle drawer, and I'm gonna use this one right here called Abstract Arrow on the top and bottom drawer. So it's gonna be a little bit different. So on the top and bottom drawer, my base coat is gonna be Plum Crazy underneath the pink one. And then for this one, I'm gonna paint a base coat of fluff to go underneath this. You can put it on raw wood if you want, but I want it to pop a little bit more while it sits on that fluff. So the first thing I'm gonna do is do a base coat of fluff on here. Okay, so the next step is once this is dry, we're just doing 1 coat. We don't need complete full coverage. We just need 1 coat, so that way this kind of pops behind there. Because if you can see, you saw before, when it's on the raw wood, it doesn't pop as much. So having that white background just makes it look a lot nicer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually butt this right up against that drawer front. And what you're gonna want a little tiny space. So I know you can see that little tiny space right there. You're gonna want a little tiny space because you don't want this paper to catch on your drawer. So this paper is really great because you can make a crease. You can just do it with your finger if you want. And what I'm gonna do is once I pull this off, there's still gonna be that crease there. You can see it. And I'm gonna cut just above that crease. So that way I have that little space on the drawer side. And that's what I really like about this paper too, is that you can make a crease. If you really want to measure it, you can, but it's not necessary. Once you feel like you have cut it, you're going to just do a dry fit to just make sure that it looks good. And we've got a little bit of space on this side, a little bit of space on this side. I also cut down here. So I also cut down here, and I wanted a little bit of space back here because I don't want it hanging off the edge. So now that you have it cut, we're going to put our adhesive on. For this part, I'm going to use Dixie Belle's Clear Coat in satin, but you can use whatever you want, whatever brand you use. If you like Decoupage, if you've got a different brand. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to put a nice layer on here, so that way this acts as the glue for my paper to sit on. Once you have your adhesive, you're going to go ahead and butt this up. If you want to wear gloves, you can. This is water-based, so I'm not really concerned with it. And what I like about this decoupage paper is that it doesn't rip easily. You're going to butt it up against there, and then you're going to work it. Again, this doesn't get much wrinkles, and you can kind of pick it up and replace it. So I'm going to smooth it and kind of smooth it all the way with my hand. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Oops. I'm going to wipe off all the excess clear coat before we move to the next step. Once you have your paper nice and flat and it's sitting on here and it's secure, you're going to take your adhesive. So I'm going to take my clear coat in satin and I'm going to go ahead and just go over it. And that secures it even more in place. I'm going to do a nice semi-thin layer. You don't want to glop it on because you can do more layers. So once this dries, I can go back and put another layer. When that dries, I can do another layer and make sure it's totally secure. So you don't want to glop it on. Again, you want to make sure that if you've got any excess right here, you wipe it off. I'm going to wipe off any excess that I have. I'm going to allow this to dry, put another coat once it dries, maybe another one after that, and then you're done. That's it. Your drawer sides are going to look awesome.
How did we end up here in the corner, looking like enemies? We used to be the team people talk about, what a chemistry. I can see it in your eyes. You don't wanna talk anymore. I wanna get so numb while we enemies. No, you don't mind the way I stutter my words. You know exactly what it means and how it hurts. Oh, I can't believe you're here. Can't get any worse. No. I just wanna get out of here. I find it so hard to breathe. Cause when you get too close, I lose my way and I freeze. I wish you knew what power you have over me, but now it's so hard to breathe. Just get me out of here. Just get me out of here. Just get me out of. How can you be so calm around me when I act desperately? You used to be the one getting crazy when I'd be hard to reach.
Before I do this next part, I kind of want to explain to you why. So with darker finishes, I always go over it. Well, first of all, I want to distress this just a little bit, but I always go over my darker finishes with the high grit sandpaper because I want to smooth out as much of any imperfections that I can before I seal it. That will also give you a much better finish. So I don't always sand after I paint everything, but I do with darker colors because I want to knock down any imperfections before I seal. So I'm going to take my Surf Prep and I'm going to use my fine pad because I do want to do a little bit of distressing. Now, if I didn't want to do distressing, then I would use as high of a sandpaper as I could. So probably like a 320 or super, super fine. And so that's what I'm going to do in this next part is just go over this entire piece with my Surf Prep sander. And that way I will distress at the same time as knocking down any imperfections. So I want to show you this part really quick. What I did is I put the Big Mama's Butter on this side. I just applied it with one of my Redesign with Prima wax brushes, and I wiped it back with a lint-free cloth. This is really important. When you're doing Big Mama's Butter, you want lint-free cloths. I got a package of these on Amazon. So they're fairly cheap. You can wash them, reuse them. So this side right here has the Big Mama's Butter, and I already wiped it back. Can you guys see the difference in that finish? So what I did is I sanded, I wiped away with another lint-free rag, and then after I wiped all the excess dust off, then I applied my Big Mama's Butter, and I wiped away the excess Big Mama's Butter, and then that is what we got. So the butter you have to reapply, you know, maybe every year or so. Just depends on the look you're going for. If it still looks good, then you don't have to, because I want you to remember that when you're using Dixie Belle's paint, it does not require a sealer anyways in the first place. It will cure in 30 days if you do not put a sealer on there, and the butter actually cures in 7 days. So it's just a double protection when you actually put a top coat or wax or whatever on top of your Dixie Belle paint. And so this is a really great way to get a flawless finish with dark colors. So remember I said that not with all the colors do I sand, but I really like to sand because you can see everything with the dark colors. So when I sand, it really helps minimize any of the imperfections that I have, kind of knocks down the brush strokes. And then, like I said, with the butter, it really helps just get a nice, smooth, silky, beautiful finish. So I'm going to apply the butter on the rest of the piece, and I'm going to wipe it away with my lint-free rag. I'll probably go over and wipe it again with my lint-free rag depending on how much the paint soaks in. So, and then you don't have to go back and buff if you don't want to. You can, but it's not necessary. And as well with the butter, you don't have to wait 15 to 20 minutes like you do with the Best Dang wax. You can put it on. So normally what I do is I just put it on the entire piece, and then once I'm done putting it on the entire piece, then I go back and wipe off the excess. And then if there's still a little bit more, I'll go and wipe it again one more time. I don't go back and buff it or anything like that. And to clean it, you're gonna wanna just use a lint-free rag and just dust it off. After it cures, you may be able to use a slightly damp rag, but I wouldn't use any kind of cleaner or anything on this. So that's what I'm gonna do next, is apply the butter all over this piece.
I wish I was above the center of attention, but I'm not. I wish I didn't have to give in to the pressure. I'm posting pictures, trying to be someone I'm not. It feels just like I'm lying to you. I fake it, stage it, trying to live some perfect life. I know I'm wasting time, 'cause I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself, you do the same and we'll be alright. 'Cause this pressure's really bringing me down. I wish I had the guts to start a conversation with someone. Just be who I am, not care so much about first impressions. So, 'cause I got a feeling that it could be great. Skip all the acts, stop playing games. Maybe reveal it, they ring me and tell you my name. Yeah, I got a feeling that it could be great. Skip all the acts, stop playing games. No more concealing, they ring me, I won't be ashamed. 'Cause I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself, you do the same and we'll be alright.
So I have a little trick that I want to show you to clean this hardware up. So I have a pot right here of water. I'm going to actually pour some apple cider vinegar in it. You don't need to get crazy measurements, just do it. And then this hardware is brass. And I want to take it back to its original look. I know that this hardware is gonna clean up really nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna set it in there now and I'm gonna boil this probably for about 15-20 minutes. And I'm gonna go back afterwards and you can use a wire brush or steel wool. I'm gonna put gloves on because it's gonna get dirty and I'm gonna rub these off. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn this on, turn it all the way, and we are going to start this oven. This is an induction oven. Okay, so this piece is done, as you can see, and it looks really, really nice. Remember, we restored the hardware, we sealed this with Big Mama's butter, we did the sides. I'm hoping my client's gonna like it. I'm sure that she will. And we distressed it a little bit to show some of the wood. So it's simple, classic, classy, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something and how to get a really good finish with dark colors. If you guys have not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell and you'll get all the latest videos. And remember, everything I use will be in the description below. You can just click those links. It takes you right to where you need to be so that you can get the products if you want to. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.